Hi, in this video tutorial, it's gonna just be a quick one. I'm gonna show you how to assemble petal number 44, or this is my favorite petal to go to make a sunflower. So this is gonna be a 16 to 18 inches flower, only using 8 sheets of paper. So this is how I lay out my petals, and you know, it makes it this way, it got it this way. So I really use and maximize the use of my entire sheet. So as I said, we needed 8 sheets of paper to make 8 pieces of 3 different sizes. So it's like the small, medium, and large petals. So I was using my Cricut machine, so I really have all the flexibility on, you know, how I'm sizing my petals and how I also maximize the use of my paper, you know, with this petal design. So don't worry, actually this particular flower design is also friendly not just for Cricut users but also for PDF. So the thing is, it's for PDF it would come in 6 different sizes, so you can really do the sizing that you like, that would suit you best and would really maximize your paper. And also the shape itself is very easy to make, and even the center is all handmade. I didn't cut it with Cricut. So let's start. As I said, you need 8 pieces of this large, 8 pieces of medium, and 8 pieces of small. And we are using a 4 inches base. And as I frequently use, I'm using a base from a poster board that you can buy from the Dollar Tree. So let's start. So I already fold some of my petals here to, you know, make the tutorial a bit shorter. So the only thing that I did, especially with, let's segregate the large, medium, and small. The way how I do it, I start with a base, and I normally fold 3 sheets at a time. So just fold it like so, and fold. You don't really have to fold it, but folding it gives it, you know, an extra texture of your flower. So we're going to our medium, like so, and the small one. So done. Now let's make a slit. So the way how I do it, I cut 8 sheets at a time, like so. And because we already have the fold, we exactly know where the center is going to be. So in my largest, I make like 2.5 or 3 inches from the base. And as you go smaller, your slit will also and should be shallower, like so. And then the third one, more shallow. So the next thing is to put the flap together to create dimension on your petal. And the way how I do it is just, I'm putting one flap over the other and just glue it. And the thing about cutting it together, it has the same depth of slit, so you don't have to worry that one petal is standing more upright than the other, because it's uniform. So, and make sure your distance also with your flap to the base is the same with all your 8 petals on same layer. So, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So let's proceed to our medium. We're gonna put this together. 1, 2. I don't really put too much glue on the slit. First of all, I want to, you know, I want to conserve as much stick glue as I can, you know, because this is my business. I really want, you know, but I'm not sacrificing the quality of its grip also. So it's enough to hold the flap together, but it's also enough that it seems seamless to me. It seems like you don't really feel it. It's not very bulky because it's just right amount of glue. 7, and down to our last one. 8. Now let's proceed to our third layer. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So now that our petals has dimension, instead of putting it together, let me show you how I make the center first. It's important to determine the diameter of your center before you will put your flower together. So let's start with the inner core of our center. So in making sunflower, I think for me it's just nice to have the black inner core, because for me this represents the seeds. So what I do, I divided the 8.5 by 11 sheets into 4, and I fold it in half like so, and I'm gonna cut it together. And the same thing with the outer layer, which I'm using brown. The brown, you know, there's like a brown spikes on the center of sunflower, so I just stay, you know, as realistic as I can be. So I already pre-cut this one because it takes a little time, but I'm gonna show you how I do it. So putting together like 2 folded quarters of 8.5 by 11, I'm just gonna, doesn't need to be perfect, I'm just gonna cut some French on it until the end. So it doesn't really need to have a uniform size. The most important thing is you cut a slit, so when you make it, you know, round or like forming the core, it's more flexible. So here, as you can see at the end, you know, it doesn't, because the front part has been dragged, you know, by cutting. I think I need to replace my scissors now. Oh, sorry. So I guess I just have to throw this one out. So the thing that I'm gonna do first is to, you know, roll this on like this one. And then as you roll on, also dab a little glue along your way so it would give a good hold on your center. So, like so. And let's continue putting another strip here. So for me, it's so much easier and make it more, you know, balanced and stable when I hold it this way. You know, top to bottom is the same. So this is the second strip, second quarter of an 8.5 by 11 sheet of cardstock. Let's see, I think I cut more than I need to. So this is the third. So all the center is just cut by hand. So let's add maybe 2 more. Or maybe let's finish the entire 8 or 2 sheets of cardstock. So the 5th, I think the center takes longer than assembling this flower together. So, but you know what? It's okay because this flower is really, or the center is really worth it. You don't have to have a fancy cutting machine to make it happen. So maybe I should add another one. So, which means I'm using 6 strips, which also means that I'm using 1.5 sheets of black cardstock. So now let's proceed to our brown one, and maybe we'll also use 6 of these brown ones. Let's see. So if you don't have a brown paper, a craft paper from Michael's will be fine. So I think we really don't need much of the brown. I think 3 or 4 would be sufficient. Just, you know, for us to create a good, you know, a layer of color. Second, and then this one is the third. Maybe 4th layer will be enough. Let's stick to 4 layers of the brown one. One last layer. So I would explain after I'm doing this one why it is important to determine the circumference of your center first before putting your petals together in your base. So almost there. So I'm just sealing this, and we can fluff this one out like so, so it would really look more realistic. So now why do I assemble my center first before I'm putting my flower in my base? Well, because as we put our petals here and we move along with our smaller petals, we can determine how far should we go in or how far should we stick out on our base. So that's why. So let's set aside our center and let's stick to our petals. So now first petal first, and as you can notice, I'm only gluing half of the petal, and second petal should be right across this petal, the first petal. So since we are going to have 8, to maintain like an even distribution of petal, let's make 4 petals across each other, and then we're going to put the remaining in between. So actually with sunflower you have an option to make 8, and also you have an option to make 12. So if you make 8 petals, you will just put all the remaining petals in between. But if you are making 12, you should put 2 petals like so, in between. So it's really all up to you, but as far as I'm concerned, I think 8 petal is enough for this flower. So if you want it fuller, you can make 12 also. So the reason why I do that, because I assume that there's gonna be a gap here, but there's really not. So we can just secure the other side of the first 4 petals that we laid on. And now we're just gonna go ahead and put the 4 remaining petals in between. So as I said, it's all up to you how you are going to make your sunflower. There's a sunflower that you can make out of 8 petals, but also if you want to make it fuller, you can make it 12. And the policy would be, you know, lay the 4 crossing petals first, and then if you want 8, you can just put the 4 remaining petals in between. Or if you want 12, you can snake. That's why I did not glue the other side, so you can snake your petals in between. So now we're going to our second layer. So just to be safe, I'm just putting my glue half of the petal. And now we can determine, you know, should I move closer so I would not see the white one? And the answer is yes. We should move a little inward so we can, you know, hide the white ones. So this is the first, this is the second layer. So there's really, we really don't have to worry so much about, you know, gaps or, you know, showing base, because we still have one more layer left that might cover it totally. So that one. So for me, this is the most economical way to make a sunflower, just using 8 sheets instead of 12 sheets. Well, you really cannot beat the beauty of a fuller sunflower, but it's, at the end, it's all up to you. You know, how do you want your so now that we know the circumference of our center, we have a mission to really move inward to make sure that it's covered with our last layer. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and as you can see, every time I put a new layer, I make sure that it's in between the previous petals, previous layer, I mean. So I like this petal design because it's very easy to assemble and at the same time very economical. You know, for this large flower, you're only using 8 sheets of paper for the flower itself, and then another 3.5 sheets of paper for the center. So now that, see, our base of our center is even larger than our center. So that's what we want, so we can cover that white spot. If we don't have enough circumference for the center, we can just go ahead and continue rolling up this one, or we can also cut a yellow paper, same color as the petal, and place it, you know, in the middle before putting your center. So that's it. That's our 18 inches sunflower using only 8 sheets of paper. So I hope you guys like it. Thank you so much, and till next time. Bye.